by serial killer, infinitus psychologist, spoken poem, know 'em, spit 'em, rap 'em. The killer is in a hidden room where he rests. Outside false faces are woven to meet the needs of normality, but when he awakens, they descend like petals and they blossom in blood. Will he feed on your nectar, or will it be the flower that wilts and decay? Wrap her away, away goes today as I wiped the blade. The congealing efforts of what has perspired, dripping in raindrops of lost essence. I started to be nostalgic of when it all started, and I smiled. It isn't easy, doing this hobby. It's a full time commitment. I have responsibilities, and before you ask, just because I live in my mom's basement, it didn't have any implications to this and what led to my endeavors of what I do now. You can't just go out stabbing people. That bath salts territory, for goodness sakes. A rapper awake. I awake in my bed, rapping, hearing the echoes again. Okay, when did it start? Around 15 years ago, give or take. To think about it, I was quite violated by the sight of blood. Fud, fud, the fud, fud. I passed out at school when someone cut their finger. I know from Phaeton to where I am today, the paradox of it all. So I was walking home and I thought stupidly to take a shortcut. I know that's just asking for a dilemma of consequences, but I was running late and overrode reason, safer than sorry, my mother would say. Away goes today, rapping all night and all day. I should really listen to the words of wisdom than to just throw them aside and regret them later. Well, this time was a moment of ignorance and arrogance. Ignorance never stopped rapping. Do these pools ever get dredged? How many angry golfers play on this field? But I just cleaned a few out, not wiping away the prints. Silly little fools leaving their prints on the weapons. I must admit, the first 5 or 6 people that were my pleasure of ending were just fucking holes, total and utter fucking retards. I know, just you can't just you can't just go around killing totally worthy of munchkins, but it was my weaving of knowledge into the formula of departing my subjects in a manner so that a milk carton was the only focus they would get, never to show that they were an item of interest, but a random appearance of some disillusioned person and a vendetta of misunderstood reasonings. But this lost its stimulation of enfrailment pretty quickly due to the vacant space between us. It wasn't as if they knew my face. It was just a finger pull, and I ended them too hastily. I even felt somewhat remorseful for them not knowing the perpetrate of their demise, and a few ran still lingering to this existence. Do you realize the skill set to hit a moving target? But none got too far. I didn't take it personally. It was a fight or flight reaction. Never stopped a rapping forever, but they were always vacant of life when I walked away from the scene. I was always throwing these weapons after a few uses. Those that had used it before their prints still there viable. So those that had used it were to blame for these indiscretions that I had partaken in. Karma was about to visit upon those lost stories that drowned in that pond. Learning was a curve that was thrown, and one that hit me square between the eyes. I had slatted the impression that I was in the right, and even though I wanted to sleep the blade into the flesh of my prospective victim, I had to watch the implications of what I had preserved. In that moment, there were struggles and definitions of what was acceptable. I still had to hold a job. I worked in a hardware store. What are the chances? I know, but where you would think someone that could easily end the breath of another would stand out, only the crazy ones We, the methodical ones, were patient. Too many in whispers, starting, and I needed silence. This had to be obeyed and enforced by myself. Urges had to be vetted. Another way in painting was my outlet for these compulsions. Each one of us had, as we called it, our own unique kits. Well, what did you think? We were going to call them hobby boxes. Me, I had a ways to disable my prey, a motion to move them concealed. I had people carrier. I know the humor didn't escape me either. Rapper forever. The raps go splatter. The blood goes splatter. I rapper forever. It was the eve of my birth, and within that moment of creation, I was as fallen as the echo of my cries were thrown into the industrial bin behind the old takeaway. My teen years were so lewd and contrived. I thought I had friends, but I was I was at birth. They used me and they threw me away. And again, I was alone. It was upon my 10th birthday that I had lingered in this abyss long enough. I decided on that day that I would greet those as I was greeted, to return those favors tenfold. My stepdad, he was my first gift to my suffering. I introduced him to that pain as I quenched his sight or lack of with a scuffed spoon, rim's shaper than a blade. I said words as he screamed. I was scooped singular or two, depends on your taste. Some, please listen to me, he spoke in quivering, stuttered vocals, but I thought it delightful and laughable snickers. See how I saw the world, feel the occasions that converted my emotions to what I'm debilitated to this moment now. I scooped them out like ice cream. I thought in this moment of mint chocolate chip and pineapple sorbet. Never stopped rapping forever. Ba-ba-ba-ba. The taste that was seeping from lips. But that was the blood validating itself on my skin. All I heard was his voice crying, and it made me regurgitate what I had consumed. It was on the floor, not tasting as it went down like victory. I was just plunged a spoon into his throat. I didn't want to taste his life. I just wanted to watch it seep on his white chocolate shirt. It was like strawberry sherbet with a bitter taste as I licked an echo of it of my hand. Why did I taste it at all? I had ended so many stains on my life. I took their eyes to show them how I felt if I had kept them looking like pickled eggs in a jar, thinking if they could still see each other's moments and each other's sights. I took their eyes so each could see how it felt for what they put me through. I had no guilt. I just consumed everything they saw and laid it to rest. I wasn't killing. I was just releasing their guilt and consuming it all. I sit next to you and smile awkwardly, not knowing the intentions that simmer within my cerebral cortex. A neuron spark, and I smile with devious intentions. I ask you simplistic questions. So why are you here forlorn, waiting for those two-syllable words, I'm alone? No one should be lonesome, then walk off to follow you in later moments. I could smell the fear of thoughts that emmed on the surrounds. You should be nervous. You have me sitting next to you, but wait a minute, like vultures, others yearn for that which is singular. Can they smell the amendment? Ending of a life, conceding to that moment of who will take his breath, me, then you, untold possibilities that only one ending, different face, but the ending is the same. I follow like a panther after its prey. I watch from a distance upon my eyes, they wander so contract, never gazed upon, but my sights are focused on your demise. But one does fly upon the honey, then the trap and done. Police freeze, gunshots ring out like church bells, then I'm clipped by violent actions. I bleed on tainted tiled floors, but I live to hunt another day. Innocents injured, impossible cult killers rampage, but under sedation, I see those that could be a next page on my thoughts. to end them, not with anger, not with words, but silence, never knowing why I cry. Rhyme after rhyme after rhyme, we were frolicking through the streets, amusing ourselves with what was nothing, knowing less than bliss. Points mean prizes, my friends. Knock the door, go on. You do it, man. As they walk up to the door, one is smiling, the other of a nervous disposition. Relax, man. They discuss the doorbell, or the policeman knock. The knock is better louder, of course, attention grabbing, but then other neighbors will hear its echo, and curiosity will awaken them to phones and regrettably police. The doorbell rang, but not a murmur, so repeatedly they tap it until luminosity awakens and words of profanity dripped out like a leaky tap dam, looking at each other as hallway lights emerged and footsteps danced down the stairs. A melody of F's, P's, and of others painted the air. If I had a swear jar on this house, I'd be a rich man. As he unlocks the many bolts, not a trusting man I see. The door takes an age to open as we wait eagerly. When he grinds it open, slower than a snail in a race. With a bullet, we started to get frustrated. Foot meet door, door meet foot. As the door releases back in, the chain is deprived of its clasp, and the gentleman is thrown back, not with a racket, but more like slow motion, rapping, never ending. Then he hits the floor like china thrown from a fourth-story balcony. Then there's silence. Check his pulse, man, as one of them linger over him, listening to whatever sign of life is left, and then, like he was reanimated from the dead, he lunges forward and grabs a clump of hair. One laughs while the other one screams in a girly kind of shriek, composing himself quickly, one swift five-knuckle plant. And again, the gentleman is cold. You scream like a girl, man. Did you see that? It was like one of those zombie flicks. Yeah, right. You're just a wetter man. As they stood over the man, now joined by his hysterical wife. Luckily, they always carried a roll of duct tape. You never know when this will come in handy. As the other wrapped it tightly around her thin-lined lips, and the storm became a drizzle of crying murmurs, looking at each other, knowing that this only works in the dark. They thought of ways to awaken the sleeping beauty. I'll punch 'em, really, that got us here in the first place, pondering on thoughts. One skipped into the adjacent room. Dude, what are you? What are you, 6? A silence of embarrassment lingered as in the kitchen he rummaged through the cupboards like a homeless dog, and the litter bin. Looking in the fridge, he found what was needed. What you going to do? Rub it under his nose? Nose, that kipper stinks. Something like that. He unwraps it, gagging at the door. Odor that perforates the air. How can you eat this? It smells like a prostitute's well-used bits. The woman smirks in a half-terrorized, quarter-amused mumble as he nears his prey fish wrapped in a hand towel within it below his nostrils. This is working the thought bucket, raising his arm up in the air. He slaps the unconscious jet clear and the chops. He stutters, awake in confusion, wondering what was happening when then in realization he speaks in ferocity. What the hell you do in my house, violating our residency? Now that's we like the feisty ones. Now that's we like the feisty ones. And Edge smiled, greased to bound hostages. Then the rules are read out. We listening? The untapped swear 10 is about to release a tirade of profanity on both, so they bind his mouth with what is needed. Shut them up, duct tape them. Then silence is blessed on their ears, and they begin quickly to explain the happenings they find themselves in. Why you slumbered, we went through your things, madame, that was quite a section we found in the bedroom. Sir, are we on the limp list? There are tablets for that. We'll stick to them. Maybe you'll survive. Rhyme after rhyme. One, try to alert anyone that they and you die. If you try to escape, we have family members' addresses too. We will hunt them down and end them with no hesitation free. Have fun as your life depends on it. Be imaginative, for we have rid the house of any and all knives and blades. 5. Creativity is the master of invention. You understand, as the old guy rumbles on trying to speak. He untapes his mouth and listens to his frustrated rabblings. How we know you'll not just fuck us. This isn't our first or 26th, no 27th, in fact, rodeo. There were 6 of us. Unfortunately, there have been winners and losers on both sides. We are but 3 lonely shepherds now. There at 3, I only see 2. Our friend is outside guarding the entertainment value of this divert and fun tonight. And then, without words, he said to his playthings, "You have to but count of 100 to hide, to do what must be done. Make your peace, fight or die. It's your choice." They untapped their mouths as to not be muffled of sound, easier to hear on the ear if they're crying in fear. And with that, the gentleman gives a capture, a 5-knuckle tap, rap after rap, my never ending serial killer spoken poem rap.